Baseball fans around the world, let's all breathe in and breathe out. 99 days later, the lockout is finally coming to a conclusion on
Yay.
this Thursday evening, March the 10th, 2022. Keeping things very brief here, folks, with this program. Again, we have no script. We're just winging it here today on the MI6 Sports Network alongside our good man, Loro Antonio, Isaiah Leung, and our good man, Chris P. Bacon Mabry. Yours truly, Cal McCurd, 20 feet below water, getting over having a cold here from San Diego. Before we do, in fact, folks, talk about what has happened today, I will have to take a moment here. I know Isaiah and Chris agree to applaud and say thank you to Mr. Antonio, who for the entire time of this lockout proved everybody on this panel and everybody on MI6 and Coast to Coast and Intergalactic Sports and Entertainment wrong, that a deal was going to get done when all of us had lost all hope and faith in baseball coming back. Loro, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for predicting this to finally come to pass, man. How we doing tonight, man? That baseball is finally, at long last, back.
Doing great. Thank you for the compliment. I mean, I was given heat from Big B and Chris telling me that it's not going to get done at a certain day, but 99 days is worth the wait to get baseball back out on the field. I'm ready to see my boys in blue kill it this year, and I can't wait for a fantastic 2022 season uninterrupted, and we don't have to worry about any labor talks until the next 5 years.
And one can hope, though, that they can at least make it longer than 5 years. But, of course, Isaiah Leung joining us from his local McDonald's up there in Fremont, California. Isaiah, you know, the inevitable, man, for you is about this impending A's fire sale. We won't talk about it tonight. That we're talking mainly about the lockout finally concluding and, you know, the ins and outs of this whole entire ordeal tonight. But, Isaiah, at long last, buddy, sigh relief, buddy. Baseball is back.
Unbelievable, man. What a roller coaster of a day. Started from the highest of highs, went to the lowest of lows in the afternoon. Then, you know, a miracle happened. But it's really miraculous that we are getting baseball. We are getting a deal. We are getting a full 162-game season. You know, it's truly unfathomable. It's truly a miracle that we're sitting here where we're sitting at right now, that to see everything done. And I'm just happy because, you know, not just that baseball is back, but me and my fellow workers that work at stadiums around baseball, whether it's PA announcers, whether it's, you know, concession workers, whether it's ushers, ticket takers, all that stuff, you know, we're going to be going back to work, and we're going to be, you know, getting back to work and getting our long due check that we will be getting, and it's going to be great. I can't wait to see all my coworkers. I can't wait to go back to the Coliseum again and work. And you know, before I give it off to Cal and to give it to Chris, I do got to give Loro his props. You know, like I wrote in the MI6 Coast to Coast group chat today, you know, Loro was the only one that never doubted, never wavered when it came to his optimism that we would have a season, a full 162-game season. I know me, Cal, and Chris, and all the other guys, we all say, yeah, there's no way. You know, some of us were saying there's no way we're even going to have a season. And then some of us were saying that it's probably going to be, you know, 60 games or whatever. But Loro never wavered. And, you know, we gave him his flack, but he definitely deserves his roses, because not only did he get it right that we are going to have baseball, and that a deal did get done soon, but we are getting a 162-game season, and it's truly unfathomable that we are getting a 162-game season, especially after all the constant bickering over the last couple of years.
Chris, again, a 99-day marathon, buddy, of seeing these two sides, you know, go at each other, you know, good days, bad days, being so close and things not coming to pass or fruition. But certainly, Chris, I think, though, man, at least down in your neck of the woods, though, renewed optimism now with the Rangers, and they're spending pre the lockout. The Astros trying to go for another World Series title or another AL pennant this season. But Mr. Bacon, good to see, man. How you doing?
Yeah. Doing good. I'm glad baseball's back. I mean, it's been a long negotiating road, and I'm just glad, we're having a full season, and hopefully we don't have to talk about this till 5 more years, or maybe, try to get something at least talked about in 3 years, so we don't have to do this again, 2 years after that. But it's glad to have it back in low row. I mean, yeah, we all gave you, beef for all of that, but you're right. I mean, the season's here, and now it's time for free agency.
It's time for free agency and a lot of good things. And Mr. Brandon Herrera does write in, it got done. Again, 99 days later, it has in fact come to fruition. And yes, baseball is here. Now, again, guys, we're not going to be here for a very long time. But here, we're here for a good time. Not a long time, but a good time here tonight, again, to, celebrate baseball being back. And now, again, there's been a lot of moving parts, though, guys, today. Now, folks, the lockout officially expired at 4 o'clock local time here today on the West Coast. And again, we have basically, some bullet points here about what in fact is actually coming to pass here with Major League Baseball and what we know. So again, the lockout, folks, came to a conclusion today after 99 days of strife. Final vote by the Players Association's 30 player reps, 26-12. That actually overruled the Max Scherzer-led subcommittee, who voted 8-0 in regards to saying yes to the deal. 4 ball clubs did say no against the CBA. That included the Astros, Mets, Yankees, and the Cardinals. The owners did vote 30-0 to ratify the new CBA at 3:30 p.m., with the lockout finally ending at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Loro, as you see, though, man, certainly 26-12 from the players. Owners 30-0. Again, a couple teams were against this whole entire ordeal. Mainly Houston and the Mets, the Yankees, and the Cardinals. Again, those 4 teams, though, I think John Heyman said it best, though, earlier today around 12:30. Those 4 teams have kind of been away, though, been the very big spenders, kind of like repeated offenders of spending. And they said thanks, but no thanks with the CBA deal. But more so, Loro, are you more surprised, though, that the players voted this, maybe the way that they voted so heavily against the committee, who said thanks, but no thanks on this deal?
Well, I mean, some people in this process, if you look at it, they have the right to not vote for this if they didn't want to. I mean, I think what I cared about is that the vote for the player side went over 20. And when I saw those numbers, it looked really good. And I really think that if you look at it, I think that most of the teams and most of the players in this process voted for this, which is good. But, I mean, you're not going to get a full vote, though. I mean, it met a certain requirement, which was good, but it didn't have – but it went over 20, which I cared about.
Isaiah, I think Loro's right, though, is now, again, the player reps. Now, again, folks, every team has 1, maybe 2 players who represent their ball club at these negotiating ordeals. I think that it was either Manny Machado or Tatis with the Padres this year, and that Fernando, we know, had spoke a lot about the international draft. Again, that's kind of off base here. But Isaiah, is it more perplexing, though, seeing that the subcommittee, again, led by Max Scherzer and Andrew Miller and some of those big-name guys, they vote no on this proposal, but then the players, when the reps vote, it's a unanimous, not quite unanimous, but it's, over that 20 threshold. Again, I think Ken Roosevelt said it had to be 20 out of 38 guys to vote yes for this to pass. But Isaiah, maybe more so on this slide here, what stands out more to you, though? Is this about the owners, voting 30-0? Is this about the teams who voted no against it? Is it about the committee saying thanks, but no thanks, or the player reps, overruling the subcommittee with how they voted in favor of saying yes to the CBA?
Well, Callan, here's what I'm going to say. I think we should have expected it, because the term roller coaster is what I use to describe not only today, but this entire process. Because
Agreed.
When you look at it, you look at how last week, Monday, I believe, it was when talks really picked up. Everybody got their hopes up. Both sides were negotiating for like 15 to 16 hours or something like that. And then all of a sudden, the very next day, it crashed. Same thing happens yesterday. Negotiating for like 15, 16 hours. Everybody's optimistic. And then all of a sudden, the very next day, it crashes and everybody's hearts are broken. And then today, it was the international draft got figured out. Everybody was very happy about that. Thought it was going to be the last remaining obstacle out there to getting a new CBA done. And then, everybody was so high at about 11 when you started hearing the news that they're going to start voting on it. And then all of a sudden you hear the news from John Heyman. Oh my gosh, the subcommittee voted, or they're leaning towards voting no. And then it's, downhill. And then it's back. And then it's like a miraculous uphill from there with the 20 to 6 or something?
26-12.
The 26-12 vote. Like, it was truly a roller coaster. I don't think any of us should have been surprised that it ended the way it did. But in terms of what stuck out to me, I would probably say there's two things. Number one, on that chart, Callan, that you pulled up, it's probably the fact that the players reps overruled the subcommittee. Because when I saw John Heyman tweet out that it was no from the subcommittee, I was like, oh my gosh, man, it's going to get killed again. It's going to be a no, because why would the player reps vote against the committee, their own committee? Why would they vote against what their own committee recommended? It just doesn't make any sense. So I thought it was going to be a no for sure, but miraculously, somehow, some way, they voted against what their own committee recommended, which was very surprising. And I think the other surprising thing was the first bullet point that you had there, Callan, and that is the lockout being only 99 days. I thought that with what was going on in 2020, with all the bickering that was going on back and forth, social media, all that stuff, and then what was going on in 2021, I thought that this was going to be a long, long process. I thought it was going to be way longer than 99 days. So that's why I'm surprised that it got done as quickly as it did, just because of all the back and forth that we saw back in 2020. And I don't think we really saw that much acrimony this year in leading to the lockout deadline. I don't think we really saw a lot of like the back and forth social media with the players slamming the owners, some of the owners going live on TV and bashing the players. We never really saw that this year. And I think that was also the biggest surprise out of this for me.
Chris, what stands out more in your mind as you see again here today the lockout finally ending by virtue of the player reps overruling their own committee? As Isaiah said, though, again, the subcommittee votes 8-0 to not agree to the terms of the CBA, but then the final vote goes in favor of the player reps voting 26-12 in favor of saying yes. So what maybe more so, Chris, in your mind, Cliff Notes version maybe, stands out more so from what occurred today with the lockout finally concluding?
That it almost went, like Isaiah said, it almost crashed and burned again with that 8-0 vote, and everybody's hopes and dreams of a season almost went crashing down. So I'm glad they got the deal done, but things almost didn't work out again.
We welcome our good man, the Sarge, into our program tonight. Obviously, Tim, again, buddy, a lot of moving parts here today with what we know from the lockout finally concluding for Major League Baseball today. As we've already said, though, with the Players Association, the player reps, all 30 of them voted in favor of the CBA, while, again, the subcommittee, who voted first, voted 8-0 to say no. You had 4 teams also say no. That was Houston, the Mets, Yankees, and the Cardinals, who also said no. And again, that lockout officially concluded within the last 2 hours. Tim, anything that catches your eye in regards to the terms or how the voting went today, or maybe more so overall reaction, I guess, to this thing finally coming to a close after close to 100 days of bickering and banter? Tim, you're on mute, buddy.
All right, bickering banter. That you put it just well. This was like almost an ugly divorce that was about to happen, like it happened in 1994. I really don't know who won the CBA because most of the details is not out, because the last CBA, the Players Association actually lost that CBA, and Manfred still needs to go. I'm not going to thank him for giving this one. No, Loro, put your thumb down because you're on social media thanking him for getting this done. So you put your thumb down right there, sir. So what happened on the last CBA?
I had to thank him, by the way, Sarge. I had to.
No, he does not get any thanks whatsoever when he smiles, saying that there's not going to be baseball. That's ludicrous. But here's the thing: the last CBA, the players did not receive any revenue money in the last 4 years of the new CBA. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with the new details that's out. We just got bits and pieces of it, but like the teams that voted no, look at them. They're the highest payrolled teams that say no. What that tells me is saying that there is a higher luxury tax that's going to happen, and that's why they pretty much say no with that one. And I don't understand. Like, I'm grateful that the NL is getting a designated hitter because baseball wants to speed up the game, but it's going to add offense, which doesn't make sense to me. If you're adding more offense to the game is going to be slower with that because I forget who Nelson Cruz, now he can play in the National League somewhere, and the game's going to slow down because you're going to have more pitching changes. So, but I am happy at least it's done, and I'm ready for some ball.
Now, guys, some of the financial ramifications made today with some of the core economic deals. Again, the CBT was the main thing we heard for the entire time of this entire ongoing fiasco. That is now going to increase over the 5-year deal from $230 to $244 million. League minimum salary is also a very big talking point. That's going to increase to at least $700,000, if not higher. And a pre-arbitration bonus pool of at least $50 million. Expanded playoffs now. 12 teams will qualify, 6 from each league. There's no longer going to be tie-breaking game 163, sadly. And also no reseeding of teams come the playoffs. And also, guys, you guessed it, jersey and batting helmet ads are coming, just like in soccer and in the NBA and in the NHL and, of course, in Major League Soccer. So, Loro, obviously, two of these things here on screen, though, bud, were the two main sticking points for the international draft, even entered in from left field and from the bullpen. It was always about the CBT and the payroll and about the minimum salary always being on here. And again, of course, the playoffs being expanded. But now, of course, though, as well, we have no more game 163, Sally, which sucks. Teams are not going to be reseeded, though, for the playoffs either. And again, ads being shown now on jerseys and on helmets. But, Loro, mainly, though, man, your thoughts on the top two on this list here again, CBT being a very big commodity, as was minimum salary during the course of the CBA negotiation.
Let me start off with this. The CBT increasing from $230 million to $244 million, I think that's a really good thing here because I think that the players appreciate that, and I also think that teams can spend more money on certain players here. And I also like the expanded playoffs. I was the one that wanted it to be 12 instead of 14 because I think 14 teams was a bit too much for me. I wanted 12 just because I wanted it to be more simpler, more easier for me to break down. And I think that having a 12-team playoff format was my cup of tea during this. And I'm a big fan of this 12-team playoff format, but I was also kind of thinking, like, you have the wild card game with 2 teams, but one of these teams would be playing a 1-game elimination. I would have kept that instead of a best-of-3 series if I were Commissioner Manfred, because I feel like that this one-and-done wild card still brings a lot of fun and excitement. So that's why I really am happy about the expanded playoffs being from 10 to 12. And I am also really thrilled about the universal DH coming. I love it. It's going to bring excitement on offense. And I advocated for it since the 2021 season to get a universal DH in. And I really think that the universal DH is going to benefit both the National and the American League. Pitchers hitting was fun, but I just felt like that more offense was needed. And a lot of people think that they think the game the old school way, but I felt like that a universal DH would bring fun and an excitement and entertainment to the game of baseball. And I'm all for the universal DH, and I think it benefits the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Mets.
If in fact, folks, that we had the 6-team playoff last year for each league, this is what it would have looked like. The Rays would get a bye to the second round, as would Houston. The top 2 teams would get the bye. The White Sox playing the Blue Jays, who would have been the next team in if it was a 16 playoff for each league. Then, of course, it still would have been Boston playing New York, and in the National League, San Fran and LA getting a bye. Brewers playing the Reds, and the Reds would have been that 6 team in last season. And the Cardinals playing the Braves, 4 versus 5. And again, folks, there will be no reseeding when, in fact, that the divisional round does begin, though, following that opening series and the upcoming postseason. But again, Isaiah, Milo, buddy, this was the main talking point, though. Again, the CBT, the minimum salary. I know that you had talked a lot about the salary floor. Maybe that teams would be required to spend at least a minimum of $100 million to at least be competitive and stuff like that. But Isaiah, your thoughts more so about some of the core economic deals, again, CBT increasing, league minimum salary going up, expanded playoffs, no tie-breaking games now, and of course, maybe not needed though, but again, ads now on jerseys and on batting helmets for more revenue streaming.
The thing is, I really think that this helps only the big market teams, because when you look at it, right, the CBT increasing from 230 million to 244 million over the lifetime of this current CBA, it's good and all for the big markets, but for the little markets like Oakland, they can just trade everybody, and that owner can just not care at all about winning and don't care about, and he won't get punished for it. So that's, for me, it's kind of I like the CBT increasing from 230 to 244 million because it helps the players get paid more. It helps a lot of the teams get to spend more money. The minimum salary, that's really good for the players. The 12-team postseason, I think it's really good as well. I think the players, with what you listed, Callan, I think the players won this. But for me, I think that when you look at it, I'm really disappointed that there wasn't a salary floor, because I think that one of the biggest goals that the MLBPA had was, yes, to get the players paid, but the other goal was to stop tanking. And when you look at it, the 12-team postseason, yeah, it's great because it'll add another team into the playoff. Another team has a chance to go. I mean, more teams will have a chance to go for it, whether it's the trade deadline or free agency or trades and stuff like that. But it's not going to stop the teams like the A's, the Marlins, and all these other teams that typically don't spend a lot of money. It won't stop them from just completely tearing down the roster year in and year out and just not spending money at all. So that's kind of what I'm disappointed with. I really wish that there was a salary floor, because I think that the salary floor would have been the thing that would curb tanking. If you really want to beat tanking, you want to stop tanking, it's going to be with the salary floor. Yes, the draft lottery is great and all that and the expanded playoff, but if you don't make owners pay for tearing down the rosters and spending as little as possible, then they can just feel free to do it all the time.
So again, Chris, some of the big economic sides here. Again, the competitive balance tax goes up a little bit. League minimum salary, which I know is a very big talking point for some of these veteran players, is going to be going up. There's a pre-arbitration bonus pool for $50 million. Again, we add one more team into the postseason for each league. We go from 5 to 6 in both the AL and the NL. Again, there's going to be no tie-breaking games, so sadly no more Game 163s, which kind of sucks. And teams will not be reseeded once, in fact, the playoffs begin. And again, there will be ads on the jerseys and on batting helmets this season. But Chris, maybe overall stance more so on the CBT thresholds and the minimum salary finally going up. And I think that maybe more so, though, Mr. Bacon, that they finally, I think, had to find common ground on those two big issues. Chris, you're on mute, buddy.
No, they did. I mean, it's all about the money mainly, and players are going to get paid a little bit more, and now you're going to have revenue on your jerseys and batting helmets, and I think we're all getting accustomed to that, to other sports having advertisement on your jerseys. As far as the playoffs go, I think it's good they're expanding. Now I'm thinking it's probably going to be your top two teams in each division.
So what it would be, Chris, is that the top 2 seeds would get a bye,
Right.
And then 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5 is what it would be for a 16 playoff.
Okay. But I mean, it's good that they're expanding, and they also included the universal DH. So it's going to be a little different, but I think a lot of this needed to happen to get a season going.
Sarge, what do you think about this again? Now, we know that the money is the main talking point here in regards to the CBT and the increases for, the collective or the competitive balance tax and league minimum salaries. And, but again, the playoffs expanding, no more tie-breaking game, Sally, which kind of sucks. Teams won't be reseeded. Again, ads on jerseys and helmets now. Sarge, mainly more so the top 3 here on this slide is a bit more important than maybe – 0.4, 0.5 here again. But Tim, again, we knew it was all about the money. But I think that, like I told Christo, they had to finally find that common ground, I think, and they just finally caved when it came into that point in time.
Yeah, I really don't think that. I am starting to think the players lost, but didn't lose as big as the CBA as compared to the other ones. But I think the new CBA, I think it's going to be hard to get done as well with what happened with this CBA. With this CBA. But we're not even talking about the young players like arbitration players because they actually got the bigger one. Thanks to my Seattle Mariners CEO saying that, yeah, I withheld players from the big league, so I don't have to pay them. I mean, he said that on the radio. He said that at some
Rotary
type of club, Rotary Club, and yeah, it was a great time for the Mariners, of course. But the expanded playoffs, which is awesome to see. Now my Mariners have a better chance of making the playoffs instead of once they lose in the final series and so forth. But the logos, I don't know about that. I feel like we're slowly going to like slow pitch softball type style of jerseys because next year we're getting bigger bases next year. So I mean, but I'm just happy because the players, I actually saw the breakout of, if you can bring up that the minimum salary, it actually goes up each single year with the minimum salary. I actually looked it up. It goes all the way up to 2026. And so that's something that is good for the players right there.
Most definitely. Christy Wilson also joining us. Christy, again, this is obviously, what was the main talking points of these last 99 days of, radio silence and nothing getting done, though, was about the balance tax and about the league minimum salary and things like that. So, Christy, again, the top 3, I think, take the main priority here in regards to the CBT and the minimum salary and the expanded postseason from 5 to 6 teams for each league. Christy, overall stance more so about the salaries, more so being the main talking point of these past 99 days.
Well, they had to come to a compromise somewhere. I mean, and this was definitely a hot button issue for both the owners and the Players Association. They had to come to a compromise on this, or else we just weren't going to have a season, period.
Plenty of thoughts, though, guys. Brandon is calling it Minnesota, San Diego in this year's World Series. He also says, sorry, Isaiah, last season for baseball in Oakland. Casey King also says, I like the expanded playoffs, but will always hate the DH rule. Brandon also says, what? No more game 163. How will my Twins ever get in again to the postseason? With that in mind, Isaiah, back over to you. What do you got for us?
Cal and the last thing I wanted to add was the fact that I'm kind of glad that the players finally realized that, hey, we were asking for a little bit way too much. And I get that the players, they have the right to ask for, the things that they asked for, but I felt like the owners were already conceding a lot. You saw a lot of the stuff that they were conceding, the CBT increases, the expanded playoffs, and the draft lottery and higher luxury tax and all that stuff. And I felt like the players needed to come down from their high horses and just take the best deal available, because the owners can just concede all they want. But if you're just going to keep saying no because you want it to be my way or the highway, you're not going to get anything done. And I'm really glad that the players finally got off their high horses and just met the owners in the middle, because there was no way that the players were getting whatever they were going to get, There was no way that the owners were going to get all of what they were going to get. It was going to have to be in the middle, and they finally met in the middle today.
With that, guys, sliding over to some other elements of the CBA, Tim kind of touched base about the bigger bases, but now there's going to be a 45-day window from the league to implement rule changes for next season. This includes a pitch clock, the bans on defensive shifts, and larger bases next season. But guys, one loophole I heard today actually on local radio here in San Diego on KLSD Extra 1360 with John Schaefer and Jim Russell, guys, is a new scheduling format next season, which will see every team play every team at least one series starting next season.
Ooh.
Now, Bob Nightingale did just confirm this too on Twitter, and I actually, guys, have a screenshot from Cooper L. Goody, who has a projected look at what the schedule for the Brewers would look like if, in fact, this schedule came out. So you're looking at, guys, 52 games with the division, 20 games against the AL Central. So this is almost in a way like what we saw with the COVID season, where you played your division plus the interleague division, and then 30 games versus the NL East and National League West, and then 15 games of the AL East and AL West. So that is certainly something to keep an eye on for next season. Also, guys, we have the NL again adopting the DH for the second time in the past couple of years, again, due to COVID restrictions in 2020. There's also going to be a draft lottery for the top 6 picks with the intent to discourage tanking. Draft picks will also will attempt to discourage manipulating service time, and also they are limiting the number of times a player can be sent back to the minor leagues to 5, I think, for one full season. So, Loro, other than the rule changes, man, I will admit, and I have said this, my man, for a long time, that I have always said that the Padres should play the LA Angels every year during interleague play because of the proximity between San Diego and Anaheim. And after 27 plus years of driving that point off the driving range, I finally get my wish next season with every team playing each other at least once. Now, again, I know it's, there's a bit of a, fine line here about, in a way, kind of, I think, though, maybe more so trying to decrease maybe some of these like Dodger Diamondback games, maybe in a way because of the competition level. But I think it's great, though, because, I think, though, that people like Isaiah want to see the Phillies come to Oakland, for example. And I want to see the Padres play the Angels every year in interleague play. I've been saying that for my entire life as a baseball fan. So I'm totally on board for that one. In regards to rule changes, though, banning the shift is the absolute best thing ever, because you're talking about guys losing jobs, guys losing incentives, guys getting released, guys getting sent to the minor leagues, guys getting cut from ball clubs because they cannot find a way to have surefire bases because the defense stacks it up on one side of the infield. And I know that may sound preposterous, but again, as someone who played the game 10 years ago, we didn't do this kind of crap when I played in high school. I also like the draft lottery. I think it adds a bit of incentive, though, for teams to not try to, purposely, lose on purpose. Sadly, Baltimore, Arizona, Houston, a couple years ago and stuff like that. I don't know, though, about the whole thing about limiting players in regards to going down to the minor leagues because, there may be a thing that we call at the AHL level about a emergency loan where a guy gets hurt. You have to have a guy fill in the spot right away, and if he's already, at that brink of like, oh, you can't call him back up, for X amount of days. I don't really agree with that last point. But Loro, what sticks out, though, in your mind more so with these other elements again? The rule changes, the scheduling change next season, the DH, the draft lottery, trying to disrupt service time manipulation, or even a limit about how many times a guy can be sent back to the minor leagues?
First of all, the scheduling format to me is interesting. So basically, Kellen, I want to know, like, before I go on with my whole take on this, is when it starts next year, do the Dodgers even get to play the American League East teams next season when it comes to interleague play?
So what would happen here, from what I've seen here, is you will play 52 games versus your division. So you'll play 52 games with San Diego, Colorado, Arizona, and San Francisco. Then you will play 20 games against your interleague counterparts in the AL West. Angels, Astros, Rangers, Mariners, and the A's. Then you'll play 30 games versus the other National League divisions, 30 with the NL East and 30 with the NL Central. And then you'll play a minimum game versus, another one of the AL divisions. So it's going to be 52, 20, 30, 30, 15, 15.
Okay, I think that's pretty fair. I want to see that again so that I wanted to see the screenshot that you have here so that I could.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I need to put it in, but anyway, continue, please.
I just want to see who typed this up. So
Yeah,
very
give me one.
interesting process here. I really like the draft lottery system because I really think that teams need to know that tanking is not okay and it's unacceptable. You got to play hard if you're the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. Also, I also like the option rules. Now you put it up to 5, just because I feel like that players need to get optioned more and all that, and then we go from there. But at the same time, I also really think that this scheduling format that we see here, it looks very, very interesting, and I really think that it's going to be great for baseball to do this type of schedule. Like you said, 52 games within your division, 20 with your interleague counterpart, and then 1 from another AL division. So I think that's pretty interesting there, Kellen.
Yeah, it certainly looks intriguing for sure for the schedule format for next season. Again, a more balanced schedule per Bob Nightingale and per other baseball sources. Literally earlier today, Bob Nightingale tweeted out that Rob Manfred says that the 2023 season will be at least 1 series against every opponent in both leagues. So basically, interleague play, is basically, kind of in a way, guys, gone goodbye at this rate. But again, Isaiah, more so again, we have a 45-day window now for baseball to implement rule changes for next season. I also heard it'd be a bit of a task force. I think it's supposed to be 4 players. I think 4 players, 2 union reps, and a umpire who's a part of this rule change committee. Then we have the schedule, as we'd already talked about with next season. We'll put that back up on screen in just a second. Then, of course, the NL brings in the DH, the draft lottery, the draft pick compensation to discourage tanking or discourage service time manipulation, and also limiting the number of times a guy can be sent back to the minor leagues. Isaiah, what sticks out in your mind for this round of bullet points here?
Well, when you look at these rules, let's start with the schedule changes. I love it because I thought that baseball should have done this years ago, just because when you look at each team playing all the teams in Major League Baseball, it's a great thing. It's kind of like the NBA, what they do. And I think it's great because you get some of these big markets, right, like New York, which don't see a lot of the Fernando Tatises of the world. They see them like, 3-4 years every time. Mm-hmm. So they get yearly exposure now to the Tatises, to some of these stars in the small markets, which don't get a lot of exposure to the big markets. And I think that's going to definitely get those players hyped up a lot. And then when you look at, the DH and the NL, I'm going to miss pitchers hitting. I'm not going to lie, because it was very funny and very comedic just to see it. But I think it had to be done just because of all the pitchers getting hurt from hitting. And also it would give more hitters jobs now in baseball, like the Nelson Cruzes of the world. He's going to be able to pick more jobs now that the National League has a designated hitter. The draft lottery, I think the draft lottery is definitely a start for the rule of curbing tanking. With the 6 picks, I'm glad that they're doing 6 instead of what was reported like 4 or 5 before. I think 6 is a great amount for discouraging tanking. The service time manipulation thing where you get draft picks, I believe, docked. Is that correct, Callan?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's definitely great because that has been one of the root of the issues in baseball the last several years. And Sarge brought it up with his Mariners with the whole Jarred Kelenic thing back last January. We all knew it was going on, but then the Mariners then president, basically makes it public, and the players have a grievance right there based on it. So I'm kind of glad that they're discouraging service time manipulation now by docking draft picks if they do it. And I would say, Callan, for the rule changes, I like that they're implementing it next year instead of this year because they can do a full study of it and not implement it so fast where they would regret implementing certain rule changes. The pitch clock, I like the pitch clock. I think it's great because sometimes you have pitchers taking like 2 minutes just throw a darn pitch, and that's like way too slow. So I like that. The larger bases, I don't really know about it, honestly, because I like the game how it is right now. I don't really see the reason why you have to mess with it. So I don't really know about that. And, Callan, I got to disagree with you on the bans on shifts. And here's the reason why. I know you played the game and you like how – and you talked about how it cost people jobs with the hitters, can't hit into the shift, and they would have bad batting averages because of it. I get it. But the reason why I'm against banning the shift is because I feel like it opens up Pandora's box. And what I mean by that is, with MLB banning the shift now because the hitters can't, hit into or can't beat the shift, what else are they going to do in the future? That's what I'm scared about now. Like, if they can't hit curveballs, are they going to ban pitchers from throwing curveballs? Or if they can't, I don't know, if they can't, or if the pitchers can't throw, or if the pitchers can't throw certain stuff, are they going to ban that as well? Like, that's my big worry, is that you ban the shift now. So you ban the shift now. Is that going to mean more changes to the sport of baseball is coming because a pitcher can't do this, a hitter can't do that? And that's the thing that I don't want to see. Like, I don't want to see pitchers not throwing curveballs because hitters can't hit, or hitters getting banned from doing certain stuff because the pitchers can't do that.
I mean, that's probably beyond a ludicrous take in regards to just banning pitches because guys can't hit it. I mean, I get where you're trying to draw, Isaiah, but, certainly I don't think I think it's great because, again, you're talking about guys who literally have been traded, like Eric Hosmer is probably going to be traded pretty soon because of he can't either hit or he can't hit or he always hits into the shift. I know about go the other way. I know about that sort of stuff, though. But in a day and age, though, where teams rely so heavily on numbers and things like that, I don't see the value in the shift. And I never have been a fan because, again, it just, in a way, kind of turns people off from the game because a surefire base hit, with Manny Machado in middle right field, throwing him out at first base, and it's a 5-3 put out from right field because of a shift. No, thanks. I can't deal with that. But Chris, what do you make about this again? But again, there's at least a 45-day window for rule changes for next season. Again, that new schedule format, again, it's balanced. We're going to be playing every team at least one series coming up next season. The DH now in the National League, the draft lottery, draft pick deductions for service time manipulation again, and also the number of times a guy can be sent back to the minor leagues. Chris, what do you don't like on this list of bullet points here?
I mean, I like the majority of them. It's just the only two I'm not, I don't know, not proud of, but or maybe disagree with, is the number of times you can move a player from the minor league to back to your major league team, and then also maybe that's it. I can't think of another one, but that's probably the sticking point for me, maybe.
So, Sarge, again, what do you make, buddy, here? Again, we've got, a lot, on this, part of the proposals here. Again, a 45-day window, also a bit of a task force being started by the league to discuss the rule changes again for next season. Again, the pitch clock, which is already, guys, been used in the minor leagues for the past, I'd say, 3 to 5 years, maybe. Banning the defensive shifts, larger bases. I even heard as well about maybe the robot umpires for balls and strikes come around sometime soon. But again, the new schedule format for next season.
Probably that
the National League, the draft lottery, again, draft pick deductions, service time manipulation, minor league. Even in a way, discouraging teams from sending guys down for X amount of times. Sarge, what do you don't like on this list of points here?
I like the banning the shift because I don't know why it was implemented in the first place, because players could hit no matter what. On top of that, the pitch clock should not be there, because if you're going to ban the shift, you're banning all defensive strategies if you're going to put a pitch clock in there, because as a pitcher, if you have a runner on base, you want the element of surprise pretty much if you're going to try to pick off the runner on first base, mostly the first base. And I did not like that whatsoever. And you've put the worst term ever in baseball is a robot umpire, because all I can see is Wally behind the catcher saying Wally the whole time when there's a strike and so forth. So
Love it.
What I understood of the robot ump, it's where the catcher catches the ball. But the problem is with a human umpire, the human umpire can see the ball where the ball crosses the plate, even though the catcher will catch the ball outside the plate and so forth, but the ball crosses the plate in the strike zone, and that's a strike. That's a textbook strike right there, and you're just taking that textbook strike out of there. You're taking the human element out of there. And again, bigger bases, I don't understand the bigger bases. It's more of a tripping hazard. I don't know.
Hate to say it, but I think it's more of a player safety thing. I know that may sound soft, but that's probably what I'm leaning towards on this one.
Well, let's just get the softballs out. I mean, let's do it. Maybe Isaiah can strike out on slow pitch softball. Maybe I can watch that. That'll be my thing. But you know what? Get rid of the pitch clock. I'll be satisfied.
Again, Christy, a lot of moving parts here for the game itself. Again, there's going to be a 45-day window, a task force being started by the league for potential rule changes for next season. Again, we're talking pitch clocks. We're talking banning defensive shifts. We're talking about larger bases, robo-umpires maybe. But again, that scheduling format change, though, I think Isaiah said it right, though. It's almost in a way like the NBA or the NHL, going the route of you play every team at least one time or two times, every season and stuff like that. Again, the NL going the route of the DH for the second time ever, again, with COVID in 2020. The lottery to, again, try to discourage tanking the season for the top 6 teams who have the worst records. Draft pick deductions to discourage service time manipulation. Again, Jared Kelenic, Chris Bryant, the main 2 names there. Mike Trout even in 2011. And also limiting the number of times that a team can option a player back to the minor leagues. Christy, yay or nay on what following bullet points here for you?
Well, yay on the scheduling changes, because I like that. I've wanted to see this for a long time, and I'm glad it's happening. And National League getting the designated hitter, I've personally been wanting that for a long time, for the universal designated hitter. It's something I've been wanting for a long time. And I like the idea of the draft lottery where you try and discourage tanking, because let's put it this way, tanking sucks.
I mean, ask the Sixers, ask, teams in the NBA, NFL. Plenty of thoughts real quick, guys. Casey says, so if everybody plays everybody, we might as well go to a East-West format. I don't know if you really can do that, because you do have 2 separate entities that already have this kind of format, with a Western-based division. I mean, you probably could, like the NBA, you just basically, dissolve it, make it like, the East Coast League, West Coast League. I think you still want to keep, I think you still want to keep like the American and National League name in regards to it and stuff like that. So I agree with Casey about that. I mean, maybe eventually you probably could do it that way, but again, you'd be talking about having 2, you'd be having 10-team divisions if you were to do that. Again, with the AL and NL West merging and the Central merging and the East divisions merging. So I'm not getting on board for that. I see the logic, but I think it has to be more of a, AL, NL, you have your 3 divisions and things of that caliber, and Casey agrees. But we'll love to see the Dodgers go and play in Boston.
Yes.
Brandon also says, Isaiah, you like the pitchers hitting because it reminds you of your own batting. And also, Brandon says, damn, I actually kind of agree with Isaiah on the shift. Wow. But again, I think a lot of us, though, are more so not in favor of it, because, again, it's just mainly in a way, and again, just the shift in general, it's turning not just fans off, Isaiah, it's turning former big leaguers like CC Sabathia, Gary Sheffield, like these are, household names, and they don't call this, they don't call it baseball. They I remember CC was on one of the like players only broadcasts that MLB Network did last season, and I think it was the Angels playing the Giants, and there was literally a ball hit where David Fletcher was playing in the shift, and CC flat out said, this is not baseball. I mean, this is not how the game should be being played. So, I mean, if you have former players saying this, along with fans coming out and saying thanks but no thanks, I think, Isaiah, you're at a big disadvantage here in regards to the shift being a thing in the past.
Well, I don't have an issue with what's on the field. I think that, on the field, it's unfair to the hitters. But my issue with, okay, you're going to ban the shift now. If you're banning the shift now, what's next? Like, for example, what are they going to ban bunts too? Are they going to ban, pitchers throwing inside because hitters are getting hit too much?
Isaiah, no one bunts anymore anyway, so it's already been banned. So again, there's no parallel that you can draw, Isaiah, to the shift being banned. Again, this is about trying to keep people intrigued by the game. Right. And again, if you literally have Manny Machado or anyone playing, mid-right field as a third baseman or as a shortstop, and you have all these different, weird, football style formations to play defense just because you want to get the out and end the inning. Again, that's turning off, the fans that this game is losing, the younger demographic of people who watch Hand Egg or who watch basketball, who watch soccer, because again, it literally makes no sense to even try to say, well, you're going to ban the shift though, but now we're going to ban changeups. We're going to ban, stealing bases. You can't lead off now. We're going to play Little League Baseball, in Isaiah's perfect world about banning the shift now. But with that in mind, though, guys, one more key point here. Key dates that are, in fact, coming up. Now, for anyone wondering, players will report starting March 13th, mandatory reporting date for spring training games, with games beginning, everybody, next Friday. I know that the Padres are playing a split squad game with the Giants and the Reds on the 18th. Opening day officially is now April 7th. Again, Jackie Robinson Day will be on April 15th, as it always is. The All-Star Game from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles on July 19th. The Field of Dreams game coming your way from Dyersville, Iowa on August 11th. The Little League Classic on August 21st. And a big note, though, folks. The regular season was supposed to end October 3rd. That is being extended because of the games that were postponed between March 31st and April 6th. I believe what I have gathered, it's going to be double headers to make up those series. From March 31st, April 1st, and all the way through. And also, guys, the interleague play format this year, NL West, AL Central, NL Central, AL East, NL West, that should be the NL East, it should say, I believe. Oh. And that should be the AL West playing one of those two. Again, I've been under the weather all day, so my brain's a little fried here. But with that in mind, though, Loro, again, man, All-Star Game's coming to LA this year. Field of Dreams game is back to full strength. Little League Classic is back. And more importantly, though, Loro, so huge that baseball is going to make up those missed games at the end of the regular season post-October 3rd.
Oh, I think that's great. I mean, I think that's a good thing that we're doing it. I think that next year's scheduling format's going to be much better. I'm looking forward to that. Like I see. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how next year's schedule is going to look like, Callan. In sense, like, do the Dodgers play the Angels twice? Do the Dodgers play the Rangers twice? Or it's one series per?
So by this judgment, it appears to be right now with what this – now, again, this came from a Twitter user who's a Brewers fan. So, again, it'd be 20 games. So it appears to be 6 versus Minnesota. So, Laurel, that'd be 6 games versus the Angels for you. And then 4 with KC, 4 with the Tigers, 3 with the White Sox and Indians. So for the Padres case, that'd be 6 with the Mariners or the Rangers, depending on what year it is, because of the scheduling issues. Probably 3 with the Angels, 4 maybe with the Rangers. Again, who really knows? Again, this was based off of a reporter covering the Brewers who put out this rough draft. But but right now, Laurel, this is kind of like our guide right now to kind of bank off for next season's schedule format.
Oh, looks great. I'm looking forward to that. And right now I'm just focused on this season. And I think that if you look at it here, I think I'm very happy with this CBA and all that. And if you pull up slide 4, let me tell you in a minute here. What I'm also excited about is the All-Star game and my home stadium, Dodger Stadium, for the first time ever. I will get to see an All-Star game in my hometown of Los Angeles. I've been waiting so long to have it here in LA. Didn't happen in 2020 because of COVID, but can't wait for July 19th. for the 2022 Midsummer Classic. It is going to be a great All-Star game. And most importantly, I'm looking forward to an uninterrupted 2022 season.
Absolutely. Again, Isaiah, hey, man, we got players reporting in 3 days. We got spring games starting up in just over a week. We got 4 weeks to go till we get the regular season started. Jackie Robinson Day, the All-Star game being held in L.A. Field of Dreams game is back. Little League Classic is back. More importantly, though, Isaiah, the big one on here, though, again, is for the sake of the full season, they are making up those postponed games from earlier in the season. Again, March 31st through April 6th, which I think is a huge thing, again, to, again, get the players paid, all that good stuff. Again, interleague play this year, again, NL West, AL Central, NL Central, AL East. And, the other one, again, I think it's AL West playing the NL East, what it should say there. I have my A's and N's backwards there. But Isaiah, what stands out here, though, man, other than the fact that I think more so, I think we all agree, though, seeing those missed games being made up, though, was such a huge, huge talking point, though.
Callan, just looking at this, just looking at all these bullet points, it's just absolutely so beautiful that I just want to blast I Wanted That Away by the Backstreet Boys and just cry.
We can do that after the show for you if you want.
It's so beautiful to see that we are going to have a 162 game season. Opening day is a month away, less than a month away. Spring training starts this weekend. I mean, I still can't even believe we are where we're at right now, man. I feel like I'm dreaming right now, but it's just so amazing to see all these amazing dates that we're actually going to have baseball being played this year. And I can't wait for the first series of the season because, my A's are slated right now to play the Philadelphia Phillies. So my dream series is actually going to be happening on opening day. So it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be so much fun. And MLB, can we please get an all-star game at the Coliseum, please, before the A's somehow move out of Oakland?
No, I mean, that's going to be reserved when they move to Vegas, sadly, Isaiah. I hate to burst your bubble there. But again, Chris, we got dates, and these are actual set-in-stone dates. Again, players are reporting in T-minus 72 hours, either tonight, tomorrow, before the 13th. Games begin for spring training on the 18th. Opening day is about 4 weeks away. Again, all the great, Jackie Robinson Day, the All-Star game, Field of Dreams game, Little League Classic, and also, but I think, though, Chris, as I said, though, more importantly, again, we literally have those games that were going to be missed being played, though, at the end of the regular season, I believe, as doubleheader formats, though. But, Chris, what stands out for you, though, in this one?
I mean, I'm just glad we got dates and, the season's going to get started and all the pitchers need to warm up their arm and, get back out there.
Sarge, again, the Mariners trying to break that very long 20-plus year drought, oh so close last season. I think that you and I both have, renewed optimism for both of our ball clubs. Again, we've been stuck in the mud for all these years of being, incompetent franchises in Seattle and San Diego. But, Tim, I mean, I know that we have, we try to hold out hope. But now, though, Sarge, seeing these dates, where does the excitement level go for you, though, seeing the dates and, again, seeing the schedule finally set in stone after all these, days, weeks, and months of bickering and banter?
Well, you forgot one date. You forgot the College World Series. I can't believe
that is true. That is true.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually looking forward to the Field of Dreams game because it kind of is like the NHL where they're all-star or where they have that Winter Classic and it's in the remote area outside. That kind of reminds me of. And the Field of Dreams movie was a great movie. And that's one game I actually like. But the one thing that I was actually kind of thinking about is like how I missed the old logo of the interleague play where you have the two eagles on each
fighting
side.
Over
one's
the ball.
Red,
Yes.
one's blue, and they're fighting over the ball with a bat. I missed that logo so much, but I do like how baseball is doing it now. I mean, it's going to be great. Laurel, I'm excited for you to have the All-Star game in Los Angeles. I hope you actually get to go because because next year it's in Seattle. It hasn't been in Seattle since 2001. And I'm actually trying to get tickets to that so I can watch a home run derby as well. But you know what? And I'm going to try to catch a Mariners and Braves game this season in September, maybe with J.
Tell you what, Sarge. I mean, I know you said you're from Seattle though, but I wanted to tell you that I'm a Dodgers fan, and I know you love your Mariners though. But I'll tell you what, Sarge. You guys are gonna have a special team this year.
Chris Bryant, here we come.
Yes.
I predicted that Chris Bryant would be a Seattle Mariner.
Don't worry, Sarge. Laurel and I have been trying to speak it into existence about this happening. Real quick, guys, one quick developing story from Isaiah, and I also told, I think, Laurel and Isaiah, or told somebody beforehand, but also as part of the new CBA, fellas, the league and the players have also agreed to stage games or these tours in 5 different countries around the world: Mexico, Asia, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, London, England, and Paris, France. So we'll have more about that. I mean, we don't know though if it will be we don't know if this will be a Yankees Red Sox thing from Tottenham Stadium like it was a couple years ago, or this will be like a off-season all-star tour of the best players in the game playing against, either staging games over the offseason, or this could be, though, I think, guys, like when we always saw the Mariners and A's playing in Japan for spring training games as a way to, just kind of showcase the game. I agree with Sarge, though. Bring back the World Baseball Classic.
Yes.
That event before the Padres were actually good. That event always sold out here in San Diego. That is for sure. With that, guys, a quick program alert for you folks. Again, you know that me and myself and John are starting the Intergalactic Sports Entertainment Network. We are debuting an exclusive baseball show starting on Monday, where we, in fact, talk about all things with baseball. Sorry, Isaiah, you're not allowed to be on the program. But also, join us, though, folks, on April 6th. April 6th, folks. We will be here on MI6 to talk about the 2022 season, to give our preview and, of course, our predictions for the division winners and, of course, the ultimate 2022 World Series champions for this now soon to be full 2022 Major League Baseball season. With that, guys, to wrap up for the night and go on into our final thoughts. At long last, baseball finally gets out of their long, extended winter's nap on day 99 of this ongoing lockout. I've been scouring Twitter, though, guys. No moves as of yet have been made by anybody yet. But per Jesse Rogers, guys, of ESPN.com, he says, wait for the next day or two for all chaos to break out. So I'm sure we'll be, going haywire when stuff does, in fact, break. With that in mind, though, Loro, over to you, buddy. Final thoughts is, again, sir, baseball is back.
I'm very excited. I mean, I can't wait for my Dodgers to work hard this season, and I want to throw in some hot takes here before we end it. One of my predictions is the Dodgers. I think they're going to re-sign Clayton Kershaw. I wouldn't mind Freddie Freeman being a Dodger, even though I selfishly want him to be an Atlanta Brave for life. But I know that Freddie is from the Southern California area. I would welcome Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers, and I wouldn't mind him. It would move Max Muncy to second base, which I think would be good. And the Dodgers, one of my other wishes is to cut Trevor Bauer, make a trade with Sonny Gray of the Reds, trade Gavin Lux, and also David Price and Trevor Bauer to the Cincinnati Reds.
Couple of hot takes there, or at least some bold predictions. Predictions more. So we'll have more about that, though, on April 6th. Isaiah, at long last, buddy, you're back to work with the A's. Though the hourglass is running out on that city, sadly, and what's going on with the stadium issues, but certainly that's besides the point, though, and on the back burner for the time being, because at least, though, we all can agree here. We're all happy that baseball is back.
Callan, it is such a beautiful thing, such a beautiful day. And, all the times that, I legitimately wept over baseball's negotiation going haywire, all of it was worth it. All of it was worth it. I might turn on that sad song tonight and actually cry because it's a beautiful day.
We're going to do that after the show when I go and grab my steak dinner. Yeah, we're going to do that, but please continue.
But, it's a great day, great day. We never, ever, ever, ever thought that this day was ever going to come. I mean, all the highs and the lows and, the 16-hour negotiations and everybody getting all their hopes up and, the very next day just to see it break. And today, I think me, you, Callan, Loro, Sarge, Christy, Chris, y'all probably thought it was going to be the same thing. Get your hopes up high, and then somehow, some way, MLB slides something into it.
Oh wait, one more thing.
Yeah. Oh wait, one more
Let me
thing.
add
Exactly, and then
that
it's
in
just
there.
great. But we finally got over the hump, man. I'm so happy that we get to see baseball again. I'm so happy that I get to go back to work again. It's gonna be great, and looking forward to a tremendous season. And since we're giving, our hot takes, let me give a couple of hot takes as well, and that is the
I'm just gonna stop you right now, Mr. Bacon. Man, it was quite a journey. Quite a journey, and 99 days of this stuff going on with
Thanks.
Major League Baseball, and they pulled through. And I know it was a lot. There was oh wait, one more thing. Wait, one more thing. It was like all these last minute add-ons to the game and to the entire ordeal. But certainly, Chris, hey, I know that you're probably pumped now because the Rangers, before the lockout again, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, John Gray, notably, that there may be some renewed optimism. I said that at the top of the show, though, about the Rangers. And again, the Astros going for another AL West division title and another, American League pennant. But certainly, though, Chris, I think the excitement level is just getting, just hotter and hotter and hotter, man, as in fact we get close.
It is, and I'm sure everybody here is like, because of this lockout, are these player signings going to be wasted because there's no season? So I'm glad there's a season now, and everybody can continue with their signings and play ball.
Certainly, play ball is on the mind. Sarge, again, renewed optimism for the Mariners, I'd say, again, with, again, Bryant being on the radar, again, just, being so close last season, again, trying to break this long, Major League Baseball record-long drought right now of over 20 years and being so close last season. Certainly, like the Padres, both teams building something great for the future with what they have in place right now. And certainly, Tim, I'm sure you're a very, very, very big baseball fan. But again, with all this behind us now, real quick, listening to talk radio today this afternoon here in San Diego, it just felt like a giant relief of like the host not having to talk about CBTs and minimum salaries and all this stuff, and like now you can talk about what your team has to do. Again, like the Padres trading Hosmer, getting an outfielder, getting a starting pitcher, finding a closer. Is it going to be Seiya Suzuki? Is it going to be Matt Olson? Is it going to be Chris Bassett? Is it going to be, guys coming here? And even with the Mariners, is it going to be Chris Bryant, coming to the Pac Northwest and playing, third base for the Mariners come opening day? But Sarge, again, final thoughts for tonight's program. And again, that baseball is finally back.
All I'm going to say, a baseball ticket is a lot cheaper than a tank of gas. So I'm excited about that.
That's true.
So I'm so excited because not only that they have the worst playoff drought in MLB, but it's the worst playoff drought in all of major sports. So it's a hate and love relationship to be a Mariner fan, but it was a crazy season. The last two seasons, they were so close to make the playoffs. But I think they can actually go over the hump if they actually do sign Chris Bryant, because Kyle Seager, he was a great defensive player and great locker room player. He was never great at the offense with that. So I'm optimistic seeing that they can actually make it to the playoffs. I'm not going to say that they're going to win the AL West, but they'll make it to the playoffs. And they won't make it to the World Series, but playoffs, here we come, baby.
Yeah, I mean, just like we say, you got to get there first. That is for sure. Christy, again, I know you're a big baseball fan, rooting for the Red Sox. And again, again, it just has to feel good for the six of us on this panel and our viewers who watch us all night here to talk baseball, talk moves, talk about the season finally starting, and just talking about optimism for the next 5 years of, okay, we have to worry about this till at least 2026, 2027. But Christy, final thoughts of this program or what?
Oh, I'm just so relieved that finally baseball is back. I can't wait for April 7th, and hopefully the Red Sox come out there, kick butt, and my bold take, my Red Sox are going to win the American League East.
That is a very fair, and that's probably going to be one of the better divisions to watch. But again, folks, as a
Oh, yes.
reminder here, once more, again, join us, folks, on the ISIN, the Intergalactic Sports Network, Sports Entertainment Network, on Monday. We are debuting Between the Bases, hosted by yours truly, sometime Monday, to talk all things baseball. Then April 6th, right here on MI6, we'll have our baseball preview show with our entire cast and crew who are baseball fans, to give all of our winners for the divisions, the wild cards, our World Series champs, and talk about our ball clubs more in depth, though. And plenty of other great stuff, folks. But again, for 99 days, folks, of silence, 99 days of nonsense, radio silence, bickering and bantering, guys going through tables, being so close. You baseball fans kept the faith. You supported this league through and through. And here we are today as a result. And I also want to, again, do this to Mr. Antonio, who, again, for 99 days did not waver one sniff of saying it's not going to get done. Yes, was he blasted in a good way by all the guys in our group chats? Yes. Did he get flack from viewers? Yes. But at the end of the day, he comes out smelling like a bouquet of roses, and everybody else loses again, even Isaiah.
Or John, too. John loses again, too.
Oh,
With that in mind, though, folks, a great night of
he's never
programming.
gonna live. He's never
And
gonna.
again, folks, as a reminder, again, we will again be starting up our programming on Intergalactic Sports on Monday. Again, with I believe John will have this program. We'll also have Between the Bases, talking baseball, Monday evening as well, to debut that program and get our network off the ground and running. But also, again, folks, April 6th, we'll again have ourselves our baseball preview show. And also, folks, join us over on C2C for another loony episode of Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace, coming up at roughly 9 o'clock this evening on our friends over at Coast to Coast Entertainment. With that, though, folks, we're Loro Antonio, Isaiah Leung, Chris Mabry, our good man, the Sarge, and Christy Wilson. This is yours truly, Cal McClurg. Still about 20 feet below water with these cold-like symptoms. Saying good night from Sandy. We'll see you folks back here again, coming up for more MI6 programming. But again, baseball preview show, April 6th, the night before opening day, to talk all things baseball and all good stuff coming your way, folks. Until next time, goodbye, or good night, and bye-bye.